demand. Our demand is that Senators Richard Shelby and Luther Strange vote. So we are here, and we will continue to be here to have our opposition to this bill be noted and heard. We're here 24 hours a day, and we would encourage everyone within the sound of my voice and my amplified voice to come join us. If you have 15 minutes to stop by on your lunch break, come see us. If you can come spend the night, come spend the night. If you can drive by and honk your horn, drive by and honk your horn, because we have made the senators' offices aware that every time they hear a horn blow, that is an indication of someone who is opposed to this health care bill. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. We're very excited to be joining with Planned Parenthood tonight to present our evening in pink. And I'm going to invite Spencer to come up and say a few words, and he's going to introduce the speakers. So thank y'all for coming, and y'all come hang out with us and help us to defeat this terrible bill. Thank y'all so much.
All right, let's see if I can do this. I've never used the bullhorn before. This is exciting. I know. The power.
Yeah, the power.
All right, thank you all for coming out. As Shay said, my name is Spencer Boley. I'm the organizer for Planned Parenthood here in Birmingham. Thank you for dealing with my mass texts and emails and 100 other varieties of communication that we send out to you, for coming out here tonight and hopefully later on this week. As Shay said, they're going to be here all week. I'm going to try to come back a few more times. I might even try to spend the night once or twice.
Thank you.
I'm also, I think, going to, someday during the day, going to make the block like 10 times and just honk every time I pass by. I feel like that might get the message across. I won't talk for all that long. We got a couple awesome people that I want you to hear from. We're going to be passing out some pink lights in a little bit. Once it gets a little darker, we'll do a little pink photo op and kind of make Birmingham see the pink and feel the pink. So, let me, without further ado, I'll bring up my lovely manager and friend, Katie Glenn. She's made the trip up from Montgomery this evening to see all you wonderful people. So here she is, Katie Glenn. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. Oh man, this is pretty intoxicating. It is so wonderful to be here with all of you tonight. First of all, I want to say thank you to Shay and the organizers at Indivisible who have put all of this hard work and time and literal sweat, I am sure it was very hot today, into organizing these sit-ins. So they deserve a huge round of applause. Thank you so much. They are the ones who've been doing work on the ground in the district, starting with that awesome town hall with Gary Palmer 3 months ago. It was so much fun, all the way up until now. And I am delighted to see you here on June 27th, a solid 4 months later than we ever thought we would be into this fight without a full repeal of the ACA and defunding of Planned Parenthood. Congratulations.
That's right.
You all deserve a high five and a pat on the back because it is your work. It is your phone calls, it is your emails, it is your protests and your rallies that have slowed down this effort and that ultimately, in one of my favorite things that I have seen thus far in this work, led to Mitch McConnell being forced to reverse course.
Yeah.
Go home. Vote on this healthcare bill. So congratulations. So I hope we all enjoyed that. Did you enjoy your 5 seconds of self-congratulation? Because now it's time to get back to work.
Yes.
Because the truth is, they are about to spend the next week and a half trying to firm up support for this bill.
Yes.
They are sending all of these senators home into a minefield full of opposition.
Yes.
And I think that they know what they're doing. I think they realize that's happening, and they're going to be working just as hard to make sure that when they come back from the July 4th recess, that they can get a vote and they can get 51 votes and it can pass.
Yep.
So that means we just have to work harder. And I think we've been working harder for the last 6 months. It's because of folks like you. I'll say I started this job in December, and it was unsure times. It was awesome times because we get to do fun stuff like this, but it was unsure times.
Yeah.
And the fact that We still have our doors open in Birmingham.
Woo!
Over in Forest Park.
Yesterday I worked with
That's right. That's right.
y'all 100%.
Thank you. Thank you.
Older people, all these people deserve better health care.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Y'all just don't know how beautiful y'all look standing for something in this
Thank
country.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
And y'all, that's why we do this.
Yes.
That is why you're here. That's why you're spending the night on this concrete ground outside of this courthouse.
Yep.
Because 500,000 of our fellow Alabamians stand to lose access to health care if this bill passes.
Yep.
500,000 people stand to lose access to care if this bill passes. It is women, it is children, it is people with pre-existing conditions, it is the elderly, it's everyone. It's those of us who are lucky enough to have employer-sponsored health care. We need to all know that none of us are safe.
Right.
You know, although we are obviously very concerned with the defunding aspect of this health care bill, the elimination of requirements to maintain essential health benefits, the slashing of Medicaid is just as concerning. This bill is going to make it harder to prevent unintended pregnancy, to take care of your family, and to keep your family healthy. You know, Planned Parenthood health centers in 50% of the places where they exist are in medically underserved communities.
Right.
In places where people don't have anywhere else to go. And we know what a future with Trump care looks like because we live in Alabama.
Yes.
And we have been living that future for a very long time. What it looks like is that our health centers are forced to close and men and women across the country are forced to lose access to health care. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here. This is the best part of my job, being here with all of you. It is so much fun. I wish we weren't here having to beg our senators to not, eliminate access to health care, but I am so thankful. Don't let up. Please keep calling.
Yes.
Please call Spencer. Let him know how he can be helpful, how we can be helpful in the community. I'm going to tell y'all this is a lot more fun than just being in Montgomery.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. We'll be here for the rest of the night. Stick around, get yourself a pink light up candle, and we will light up Birmingham pink. So thank you so much.
Next, I'm going to bring up one of my good friends and someone who is a super vocal activist here in Birmingham. She is a historian, a teacher down at Lawson State. She also was heavily involved in the March for Science. If any of you came out for that a couple months ago there at Lynn Park. She's going to talk a little bit about her experience with both Planned Parenthood and the rest of the healthcare system and why it's so important that we keep, insurance access for people, that we maintain that, and we let people actually be able to pay for their healthcare bills. So here she is. Thank you, Nicole, for being here.
Those of y'all who know me probably know that I don't need this thing, but I'm going to use it anyway. Technical opportunities. And then do I hit this one?
Yeah, hit that button.
Oh, God. Okay, now I'm really loud. This is not good.
Now you have to whisper, Nicole.
It's true. So I'm Italian, I talk loud, but there are a lot of y'all here, which makes me really happy to see. And I've been coming at lunch, and I recognize that not everybody can get off work for lunch and come by during lunch, but it's so great to see everybody here at night. This makes me really happy. So I want to start a little bit, and this is what I told the representative in Luther Strange's office earlier. And this is going to be a problem for me because I'm a teacher. I'm used to walking around while I talk, so don't let me walk off this stage. Okay. It's already started. I was born with a pre-existing condition, right? I was born with spina bifida, and I am very, very lucky that I can walk at all. A lot of kids born with spina bifida don't get that chance. And when I was just a baby, about 2 months old, my mom flew me to Chicago and I had an experimental surgery done by a neurosurgeon. And I haven't had a whole lot of problems compared to some people, right? I've had a lot of orthopedic defects in my right leg, and that's it. Except those orthopedic defects defects have caused me a lot of misery. And in 2008, I was a graduate student at UAB. I was on student insurance, and this is before the Affordable Care Act passed. And I go in and they tell me that I need this surgery in order to correct the bones that are moving sideways in my foot, which, I mean, again, it's just a foot. There are people who deal with a lot worse, right? But I go in and I get this checked out and they tell me I need the surgery right away. So I try to have the surgery right away and I get denied by the insurance company because it's a pre-existing condition. Because I was born with it, right? And I mean, I didn't really have much of a choice. So I had to wait and wait and wait. And after the Affordable Care Act passed, I remember just crying in my car on the way to work thinking, finally, I can get something done about this, right? I had been hospitalized with MRSA. I had dealt with this over and over again. And I finally have the surgery, and now I'm on surgery number 4, and they tell me that because I had to wait that long to have the first one, I'm permanently crippled in that foot. Which, again, there are worse things that have happened to people. Back in December, I had to have my little toe amputated. Some people have to have their whole arms and legs amputated, and some people can't walk at all. I am grateful for those things. But I would have never been able to get any care at all without the Affordable Care Act. I don't make a lot of money. My insurance premiums are really high. They're about 1/3 of my individual income in order to be able to have a low deductible. And that sucks for me, but it's going to get a lot worse, especially for people who are older than I am. Right? There are some people where their insurance premiums are going to go up to half of their income under this new bill. Feel free to interrupt me for woo. You already know why we can't let this happen. But I think that it's important for people to be able to put a face on the suffering. And again, my suffering is not the worst, right? But I think that having human empathy is really missing in this country right now. And I think if you can convince your representatives and convince these people in this building, if you can tell them your story, they look at you and you're a face, right? You're not just a phone call. You're not somebody who's far away. In terms of Planned Parenthood, which I do want to talk about a little bit, I took it for granted living in Wisconsin. I never thought about it all that much until I moved here in 2007. I had free access to Planned Parenthood and everything was covered. And I didn't realize that wasn't true in Alabama until I tried to go when I was 23 years old, and they told me that there was no system in place for that. But because of Planned Parenthood, I was able to be careful with my now husband. We don't have kids that we weren't ready for, that we couldn't afford. I was able to get cervical cancer screenings. I was able to get pap smears. I was able to get tested and mammograms and all sorts of things that I needed that run in my family. Right, and this is back when I was younger and poor. Now I'm older and poor, and apparently that's the thing that doesn't change, right? But this is really important for millions and millions of women in this country to have access to health care. And the fact that this bill was written and doesn't even mention women, right, who are half of this country, right, more than half, and they're just completely left out. Now what happened to my foot, not related to being a woman, but what access you have to health care shouldn't be related to being a woman either. You should be able to have those things. So I just wanted to come here and tell you all my story a little bit and remind you that this fight is not over, even if we get to take a little victory lap today. And I'm just echoing what other people have said, right? It's good news, but remember, this happened with the House bill, too.
Yes.
We got all excited, right? And then they just kind of slipped it by us.
Yep.
And that could easily happen again. They're coming home to regroup. Right, and some of them are going to recognize their constituents are pissed off, and we need to remind them that they work for us. They don't work for Mitch McConnell.
Right.
Woo!